Step into the doghouse. Welcome back. Welcome back. As y'all step in the doghouse, go ahead and give me a go dogs, man. Go ahead me a go dogs, man. We got a live going today, man. And we had we I feel like I got all my frustrations out. You know, I know most of us got all of our frustrations out. It's time to, get past it. We got past week 2 versus Austin P. 28-6, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of the games that I like to forget about. Most of us would like to forget about it. Um, that was a tough one. I ain't gonna lie. That was a very tough one to sit through. Not so much because I thought we were gonna lose, but more because I felt like we can do a whole lot better, man. A whole lot better. Shout out to Johnny Bootlegger for stepping off in the doghouse. Said, please, Puglisi has to take the job before we lose 3 games. Yeah, my main thing is with Kirby, I don't want to call him like the dust has settled, so I'm more calmer than I was during the lives. You know what I'm saying? I get so much more hype during the lives, but I mean during the game, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I don't know what Kirby gonna do. Hopefully Kirby makes the right decision. I think this season he's gonna have to make a big time decision. Far as on paper, it shows that Gunnar Stockton is not doing too bad as far as on paper. You know, yeah, he went 200. He had 227 yards of passing, no touchdowns. I think he went 26 for or 24 for 34 attempts. So, he kind of in the 70% range when it comes to his completion. You know what I mean? So that's really not bad when y'all really think about it. In my opinion, I'm still not sold on him. Like, to be real, I know most of us, no matter what his stats say, we're not going to be sold on him until he start getting more explosive. And that's what I think he lacks. The explosiveness. And credit due to the offensive line too, because the offensive line is not as great as they once was, and they can get a whole lot better. Shout out to Cujo for walking off in the thing. Falcons pulled the Bulldogs on the goal line today. Yep, that's a part of the reason why a lot of times I don't watch the Falcons either, because it just feels like I can't watch one shitty game and and turn around on Sunday and watch another shitty game. You know what I mean? Bulldog JC just walked off in the live. What's up, go dogs, man? What's up, go dogs, man? We trying to get past the Austin P game, get past week 2 and start for preparation for week 3, man, because the week 3 is gonna tell it all. There are still people out there that believe that Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo is holding back a little bit. I tend to not believe that. I tend to hope so, but there's a lot of people, in different comment sections that believes that Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo holding back. You know what I mean? They not letting it all out the bag. So hopefully they're right. I tend to believe that a lot of people are delusional. Yeah, he 227 yards don't sound too bad. 26 for 34 attempts don't sound too bad. We ran the ball 40 times. Um, Man, I think we've well established the fact that we can run the ball. I don't know how well we're gonna run the ball on Tennessee's defense, though. I think, and then also, I want to bring up this too, because I see a lot of people that's very happy about Dwight Phillips, as well as I am. I'm happy about him too. But I think a lot of people are throwing shade to Nate Frazier for whatever reason, when Nate Frazier is still, the leading running back. You know what I mean? And both of them had plenty of reps. It's not like, they didn't have Dwight Phillips in there just as much as Nate Frazier. I think that Nate Frazier, I don't know, why people don't see this, but as long as you're getting 5 to 6 yards a carry, might even be 8 yards, 5 to 8 yards a carry. That's damn good. You're not gonna lose your job if you, you know what I'm saying. If you're converting, you're not gonna lose your job. At the end of the day, Dwight Phillips, has some spark, has some spunk, but at the same time, I'm not looking forward for him to replace Nate Frazier. I'm just looking forward for those two to go back and forth, the 1-2 punch. That's what I want to see. If Dwight Phillips looks better than him at times, cool, I'm fine with it. But I hate that a lot of coverage teams, gloss over the fact that Nate Frazier is not one of the ones getting hit behind the sticks. He's not losing yardage. Yeah, he's not breaking out for 40-yard touchdown runs, but at the end of the day, he's doing the job. He's getting the job done. If you go to the stats right now, he is the highest. He has the most yards. You know what I mean? But a lot of people still focus on Dwight Phillips. I think a lot of people want to see the explosiveness, so therefore they're going to stick on the fact that Dwight Phillips has the most explosiveness plays in the last 2 weeks. So, which is cool. Like I say, man, it doesn't matter to me. It don't matter to me long as both of those guys do what it takes to win this ball game. You know what I mean? Let's read some of the comments. Johnny Bootleg said Kirby definitely was not happy yesterday. No, he wasn't. With the offense, yeah. I'm still not sure about the defense. I think a lot of us is focused on the offense because we did look worse on offense, but I'm still not quite sure about the defense either, because you have to think we still haven't been tested, regardless of which side of the ball. We still hadn't been tested, so I think we need to realize that, yeah, they didn't let a whole bunch of, let up on the offense. Well, the defense didn't allow touchdowns. The defense tend to look pretty decent, but we still haven't played an SEC team, and I can't judge it based on what we did. If they were more dominating on defense, I could really, trust that coming into the week 3, we would dominate on defense versus Tennessee. But I just think that our defense looks sluggish, very sluggish in the first half. I think that they could do better. I think the first week we saw we saw them flying. It's weird how week 1 we were able to see way more than we did week 2. To me, that's very weird. I didn't understand it. I know a lot of people starting to talk about the weather a lot. I think that's their way of coping with the fact that we did not play well at all. So they talk about the weather, and maybe that could be the reason. I'm not sure. I can only go based off of what I've seen. And I didn't see a lot of flying across the field. I didn't see a lot of heavy, hard hitting. I just saw a lot of, this, a little that. Yeah, like I said, they didn't let them score. But come on, this is Austin Peay, man. Like, I don't know how many times I got to say this. We're playing Austin Peay. Like, they're outmatched damn near player for player. They're outmatched. So they wasn't supposed to run downfield and score. But I just want to see a lot more explosiveness plays coming from the defense as well as the offense. The biggest issue and the biggest question is the offense, though. I will agree to that. We will find out what Georgia is this Saturday at Tennessee. Definitely will, Bulldog JC. This is going to tell it right here. Yeah, this is going to tell everybody, as far as the Georgia fans, if Bobo was holding back or not, because at the end of the day, like I said, on paper, Gunner doesn't look bad. Like, when you look at it on paper, if you're not viewing the game all 4 quarters, you would assume that Gunner is not doing too bad, outside of the fact that he only threw for 2 touchdowns this season. He only threw for 2 touchdowns this season. It's only been week 2, but that's kind of scary that your quarterback can't throw for a touchdown. I'm not trying to jinx the team or nothing like that, but I just can only go off of what I've seen. In these last 2 games, the first game was a little more explosive. It's like they let him use his legs a lot more. This game, they kind of like contained him and held him back. Now, if I say they was holding back, yeah, this would be the game where I felt like they held back a lot, and maybe it was due to the weather. They didn't want to get it out of control. Yeah, man, I'm just hoping for the best with this dog team, man. I feel like I don't want to put nobody on the hot seat. Like I said, I did enough fussing and with my frustration during the live yesterday. So I'm kind of calmer right now, and I just want to see how this thing plays out. I'm not confident going into week 3, not at all. I feel like we've been kind of lied to in a sense, to believe that this team was going to be better. There was so many coverage teams out there that was promoting how this team is going to be so much better than 2024. And I also thought that this team would be better than 2024, especially with the transfers coming in. But we didn't see a lot from at least Zachariah Branch this game, and Noah Thomas, we didn't see much from him. I really don't know what's going on with that situation. A lot of people are saying like those guys may end up transferring, because at the end of the day, man, these guys got to get the ball, bro. And you ran the ball 40 times, and out of all 40 times, you didn't even think to setting up a good pass play on Austin Peay. Like, come on, bro. That should have been the game that you should have, aired it out. And I said it a million times in the lives. We should have been airing the ball out. That would have told the fans a little more. But we for right now, I don't believe that we can beat Tennessee. If we play the way we play Austin Peay, I don't believe we'll beat Tennessee. I believe Tennessee will, shove it down our throats. The game won't be at home, so we gotta do something to get some momentum going coming into this game. I believe we will. I believe we're going to come out trying to start fast, but I think that we need to really make a decision at that quarterback position, regardless of him, being 76% accurate with his throws, regardless of him throwing 227 yards against Austin Peay. Like I said, on paper it may look decent, but at the same time, when you're watching the game, it looks terrible. It looks ugly. So, we got to do better at the end of the day. Hopefully we can do better. I don't know what else to say about these guys, man. It's not much that I actually can say, everybody, that got touches, like far as Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bowens, all of those guys look good. The offense don't look very good. I'm not even going to lie. Like, at first, there was a lot of people in the comment section yesterday was talking about the offensive line, and when I go back and look at it, yeah, the offensive line doesn't look good at all, in my opinion. From time to time they do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, not every play they look terrible, but I think they need to, give a little more push, and I think that's a part of the reason why Nate Frazier can't really take off. Because if you notice, a lot of the times when Dwight Phillips do get to take off, it's on the outside. You know what I mean? I don't see Nate Frazier getting a lot of outside runs. It's mostly up the middle, and I think that's what they're using him for, because he has a more physical runner. I think Dwight Phillips is physical also, but I believe that Nate Frazier is more physical. Him and Chauncey Bowens, most of the time you will see those guys going down the middle. You know what I mean? And you're going to typically not lose yards, but you're not going to get those big explosive yards coming up the middle, especially if your offensive line ain't giving that push and opening up them holes. And I believe that that's why Dwight Phillips is looking a lot better. A lot of times he's on the outside when he's running. That's no excuse for Nate Frazier or Chauncey Bowens. That's just my opinion. But I think all three of those backs are doing good, as well as Cash Jones. Can't leave him out. I believe that all of the backs are doing good. I just hope that the offensive line ain't the death of these running backs, man, because I do see a lot of sloppiness in that offensive line. It's got to get better. It just got to get better. I can't see us going a full schedule playing like this, Last season was the same thing. So I'm like, we look the same, almost the same as last season, and it's weird, playing these scrub teams and having a tough time with them. Like, since when, Georgia? I just don't get it, man. I just don't get what's going on. I believe something needs to change, and it needs to change fast. It's like I say, a lot of people was going to talk about Mike Bobo and, his vanilla plays, but like I always say, I don't believe it's Mike Bobo. I believe it's the talent that we have. And, they're not allowing Gunnar Stockton to do much because I don't feel that they're confident in Gunnar Stockton to do much. When I seen Kirby on the sideline with Ryan Puglisi and Gunnar Stockton, I'm thinking in my head he about to make a serious decision, but he still didn't make that decision up until the 4 minutes or 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, which that pissed me off a whole lot. Like, why would you finally put this guy in? Damn, like, do you not trust him that much to the point where you waited to 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth quarter to put Ryan Puglisi in? That's terrible, man. That's like a spit in the face, like, at the end of the day. But like I said in one of the lives I did yesterday, it's going to take Gunnar Stockton to start throwing multiple interceptions and losing games for us to, replace him. And a lot of people felt that same way last season with Carson Beck when I think he threw like 3 interceptions in 3 weeks. He threw 3 interceptions each game. Each game for those 3 weeks, he threw 3 interceptions. You know what I mean? Each game, right? But we still pulled out the win with those games. I don't see us doing the same with Gunnar Stockton. But that's not even the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is a lot of people was wanting to see Gunnar Stockton, right? When Carson Beck was throwing those interceptions. And what happened? We didn't get to see Gunnar Stockton. I personally didn't feel we needed to see Gunnar Stockton because I didn't think that Gunnar Stockton was going to do any better. And as we can see, far as this season, Gunnar Stockton is not doing a whole lot better than Carson Beck. You know what I mean? I think people need to get over the fact that he is not better than Carson Beck. And Carson Beck is over there airing it out at Miami. Shout out to Carson Beck, even though he left. Shout out to him, because at the end of the day, if we would have paid that man, I believe that man would have stayed and played for Georgia. They blame it on a bunch of different things, saying Bobo, they had differences. Him and Carson Beck had differences. I don't know what the real truth is about it, but what I do know is he's a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton. And we would see a little more explosive plays than what we see now with Gunnar Stockton. I believe that Gunnar Stockton can get better, I believe, but I see him more so as a backup quarterback. I don't see Gunnar Stockton as a starting quarterback. Even when I look up information about the G-Day and the fall scrimmages and stuff like that, there's nothing stating that Ryan Puglisi is far behind Gunnar Stockton. So there is a chance that Gunnar Stockton will get benched this season. There is a chance because they're not that far behind each other. It's just that Ryan Puglisi need a little more PT so that, he can get it in his groove and get a little more comfortable because that's what Gunnar doing right now. That's exactly what Gunner's doing right now. Gunnar is trying to get into his groove. He done played 2 games so far where in the first one he didn't do as bad. And the second one he didn't technically do as bad either. He just didn't throw for a touchdown. Those 227 yards, that don't just come from him airing it out. That comes from just yards after the catch. Some of that comes from yard after the catch. I believe we got to understand that also. What's going on? OG Stoney Jackson, what's happening? I feel like we will make the decision if Stockton blows it this week. I think Puglisi will play. He can't be afraid to throw the ball downfield across the middle, but the line is not giving Gunnar enough time to develop. If Gunnar was him, he would have replaced Beck last year. Facts. I don't think we would have the budget to get transfers we got if we kept Carson. That's yeah. You may be right about that one, Cujo. Common denominator is Mike Bobo. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people speak on Mike Bobo. I'll believe it. I don't know what it's going to take me to believe that, because I believe there's 60% talent and 40% coaching. And that's just me. I believe it's 60% talent and 40% coaching. Because when Mike Bobo had Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers, things tend to look a little bit different. Like when we had those guys with Mike Bobo, I felt as if nothing had changed. We were still those Georgia Bulldogs to be feared. But once we lost those guys and we had Dominic Lovett. Was it Dominic Lovett and Aaron Smith and Dylan Bell? When those guys were the starters, we looked horrible. And I don't think it had nothing to do with Mike Bobo. I mean, Mike Bobo wasn't the one dropping passes, though. I don't know how many times we got to say that, but he was not the one out there dropping passes. So does his play calling it look kind of basic and fundamentals at time? Yeah, it does. But at the same time, I think, like I said, for me, it's like 60% talent and 40% coaching. So these guys have been playing football their whole lives. So when they get to Georgia, it's not like Georgia is pushing them harder than they have been pushed. But at the same time, I don't believe that, it's coming from the coaching on why these guys are not I'm not even going to say they don't look good. I'm just going to say the quarterback is not throwing the ball to see if they do look good or not. We don't even know because he's not throwing the ball. Do you think we're going to win against Bama? I think every game this season is going to be a close game. This is not going to be a blowout season, obviously. Like, just judging based off of the two wash-up, clean-up games, we're going to have close games with everybody, whether we lose or win. We're going to have close games. I don't see us blowing nobody out this season. Outside of Marshall, I can't say, Yeah, Cool Joe, Johnny Bootlegger said, people act like Bobo calls nothing but screens. Gunner was taking the check down due to the lack of confidence and or talent. Yeah, that's true. Like, sometimes Gunner wasn't even checking down. He was staring down, though. He was doing a whole lot of that. But sometimes I seen plays where he didn't even check down. They should have gave Todd Monken whatever he wanted to keep him. The word is that Gunner will be benched if he does not produce against Tennessee. Too much money has been invested to this season to just let it go down the drain over one player. Yeah, I believe he need to be on the bench. I was screaming for him to be on the bench yesterday. Get on the bench. Let Ryan Puglisi take over. Let's see what Ryan Montgomery, got or whatever. And by the time Jared Curtis come in, we got to get right with this quarterback situation. How many years are we going to keep talking about the quarterback position? We've been talking about that for the only 2 years we haven't been talking about the quarterback position was in 21 and 22. The only time the quarterback position wasn't a big deal was in 21 and 22. We had 2 years out of the 6 years. How many years Kirby been with us now? We only had 2 years that we could kind of take a break off of the quarterback conversation. The Jake Fromm start, we was cool with it, but as soon as we got Justin Fields, it became a quarterback situation. You know what I mean? It's just been always a quarterback conversation, man, with Georgia, and it's time to make the right damn decisions. It's just time to make the right decisions. At the end of the day, are we out on the field? No, we're not out on the field. Well, at the practices. We're not there to analyze these players. We don't know more than the coaches, but that doesn't mean we don't know football at all as Georgia fans. We know a little bit about football, and us as Georgia fans, we know our team. We know where we lacking at. We watching the game like everybody else does. But the only people that I see that's sugarcoating the real deal on Georgia is the guys that's covering them. That's why I refuse to watch now. I'm kind of trying to stay in my own zone because I believe that people don't want to tell the truth. Me and Armando Black TV talked about this. They don't want to tell the honest truth about these dogs. It's nothing wrong with having faith in the dogs because believe it or not, I do have faith in my dogs. But I'm going to speak the truth on what I see, and what I see is that we have a quarterback problem. Him being able to make plays with his legs, which he did not do very much at versus Austin Peay. I don't think he did it hardly at all. Him being able to use his legs, and that's not enough. He has to be able to do what a quarterback is supposed to do, which is throw the ball. Bulldog JC Stockton seems to be on the Fromm protocol. No throws over the middle and very few downfield. Bobby Rose said, yeah, they got to keep it honest. Yeah, I know y'all seeing what's going on because I could see who y'all follow, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? I know that y'all follow these other channels, and I follow some of the other channels also. And it's like I have to cut it off, bro. Like I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. Outside of talking about these players, I have to cut a lot of that stuff off, bro, because it's straight like delusion and fabrication. And I'm like, bro, like let's keep it a buck. We can't keep lying to these. Well, not we, because I'm not in that. I'm not in there with them. But like, I'm not saying they intentionally doing it, but good Lord, man. Let's be honest, man. What we seen on the field is not enough to get us to no national. We are so far from being a national championship team. Like, this is one of the seasons where we're going to have to really work for every inch and every score. We're going to have to really work for it. The corporations have a puppet string on the big UGA content creators. I believe so, Mondo. I believe so. Because it's like it's nothing but Disney dog talk. That's what they do. For real. Because it's like nobody is being realistic. Nobody is giving their honest opinion outside of guys like, and he has a big channel, outside of guys like Uncle Lou. Now, Uncle Lou, outside of me and Armando TV, Uncle Lou is the only one that's being honest. He'll tell you straight out, hey, they suck. And that's the truth. They sucked yesterday. That's the truth. Like, no fabrication. They sucked. We can clearly see, we can try to make all the excuses in the world. Why should we be trying to, if this is an elite team, if this is a SEC national championship type of team, why should we be making excuses? It shouldn't be no excuses being made. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be having these conversations about Georgia winning 28-6, Austin Peay. The score should have been 48-6, And no, when I see Ohio State and when I see Tennessee, that shit don't put no fear in my heart. Cause y'all beating up on teams, that don't put no fear in my heart. Like, not at all. That was supposed to happen. But do I see y'all as doing what we should have been doing? Yeah, we should have been doing the same thing. So do y'all have a little bit of an edge, Ohio State and Tennessee? Yeah, I think so. They do have a little bit of an edge over Georgia. Now, why are these channels promoting the fact that I think a lot of them are promoting the fact that we got, we're going to pull everything out week 3. And my thing is, how do we know this? What intel or what information are we getting to say that this team is going to do better in week 3 than they did against Austin Peay when we playing SEC defenses and offenses? I don't know. Mono TV said, Uncle Lou, keep it 100. Bulldog JC, I watch every game and make my own assumptions. Yeah, you have to make your own assumptions. You can't not listen to these guys, bro. Not all the time. I'm not saying that they don't work hard to bring you Georgia content, and I'm not speaking down on them in any kind of way when it comes to that, but I just think that they got to stop putting cut on it. Don't put no cut on it because you're not keeping it honest. That's why I haven't listened to Uncle Lou in a long time. That's who I started out listening to. When I first started out, like, looking at Georgia content, I started out looking at Uncle Lou. And I liked it. I like Uncle Lou because he kept it real. And that inspired me. So when I just started my own channel, I said, well, if we got a guy out here keeping it real, I'm going to do the same, which I was going to do that regardless. It didn't take me watching Uncle Lou. But a lot of times you do get a lot of flack if you a channel that don't follow protocol, and you get a lot of flack. And I didn't want that, but at the same time I said, you know what? F it. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do because this is my channel. I put the money into everything that I do when it comes to this channel. So I'm gonna speak how I want to speak. I don't disrespect nobody. I don't cuss nobody. I try to keep it positive, but I gotta keep it honest at the same time. Said, yeah, Uncle Lou keeps it a buck. Just found out your channel. I like what I'm hearing. Honesty. I started watching Uncle Lou and you. Man, hey, look, bro, I appreciate you, bro. Like, because you have to have honesty, bro. This is not an overreaction more so than just me being honest. Like, sometimes we can overreact, as people that cover the dogs. We can overreact, but I don't feel that me and Uncle Lou are overreacting. Them boys sucked yesterday. You know, I'm not making no excuses. I don't care about no weather. I don't care about nothing. I'm not making no excuses. The boys sucked yesterday. They were terrible yesterday. You know, I don't care about no yards. Is McCray and Robinson injured? I don't think McCray is. Robinson could be. But we got enough running backs to get the job done. We just need that O-line to, do their job. If Gunner not gonna let it rip, we should give Puglisi an opportunity because he can run too. Yeah, Brooke Austin keeps it a buck also. Yeah, Brooke Austin do too. He does too. But I saw a breakdown from Brooke Austin today, and I couldn't watch that either. Because it's like sometimes, and I know, let's be real. I'm going to be honest. I know we have to celebrate when we have some wins. I know we have to congratulate the players that's doing their job. But even when I was watching Brooke Austin break down today, I could not watch it because that's not the standard. We could say the good plays that they made, throughout the game, but we talking about playing it against Austin Peay. Those two games ain't enough to, really say what our identity is. So it's like that's why I couldn't watch it, because I was like, what I seen, I had enough of. I had enough of the fact that, we couldn't hardly score on this peon team. And I hate to diss them like that, scrub team, whatever you want to call it, warm-up team. That's a little better term, warm-up team. I hate the fact that we couldn't score, we couldn't throw a touchdown on this team, and then threw for 227 yards with no touchdowns. Like, what in the world? And like I said, some of that is due to the yards after the catch. So it's not like he was out there slinging it around, because he was not doing that. How we in week 2 and we already calling for Ryan Puglisi? That's a doggone shame. We're in week 2 and we headed into week 3 and we already want to see another quarterback. That should tell Georgia something. And he ain't that far. From what I've been seeing, Ryan Puglisi ain't that far behind Gunner Stockton at all. Not at all. He's not that far behind. And this is what I'm hearing from. This is what the sources that I'm seeing from the Georgia sources. This ain't no Google, no regular Google websites. They're saying that guy is not that far behind Gunner Stockton. That's why I say, as bad as Gunner played, what is he doing in practice? So much more better if he's not that far behind. What is he doing maybe he's completing more passes and practices than he is in the games? God damn. How are you doing so well in practice, but you're doing so mediocre in these games? The fact that Pug was in the huddle with Gunner and Kirby that tells a lot. That's what I was talking about earlier. Let me rewind that. When I saw them two, and I saw Ryan didn't have his helmet on, Gunner still had it on. So I'm thinking that Ryan about to put it on, but he didn't. So I said, well, damn, they gonna leave Gunner in, right? That's typically what they do. But when I saw that, I said, boy, we are in trouble. Matter of fact, I was happy for it at the time because I thought that he was gonna bench him. So I was happy that they was in the little huddle, But I was like, man, we in trouble. If our starting quarterback and our coach and our backup is standing together like this, I really haven't seen that. I really have, because if your quarterback is doing great, your backup is gonna be sitting there on the bench watching and taking notes. He's gonna be taking notes. Puglisi will be starting by Alabama week. I hope Puglisi starts next week. I'm not even gonna lie. Give him a shot. He can't be no worse than Gunner Stockton right now. Let's be realistic, y'all. This man cannot be no worse than Gunner Stockton right now. We saw what Gunner Stockton was able to do in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The first game, I guess people were blown out their seats because obviously we came from 2 years of watching a quarterback that wasn't a runner, so they were blown out their seats. They were so hyped about what he was able to do with his legs. And by the way, the dude is not that fast. Let's get that clear. He is not that fast at all. We've seen tons of quarterbacks way faster than Gunnar Stockton. Way faster. Is he able to get us that first down here and there? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't see the big hype around this dude, man. Gunnar Stockton just need to be a Taysom Hill type of player at this point. Gunnar Stockton need to be a sit and watch, learn at this point, in my opinion. You know, we paid all of this money to get these transfers, and these guys can't even touch the ball. You get one player a game that guy can actually, like, why is that? Why is it that when Bennett was the quarterback, everybody touched the ball? When Carson Beck was the quarterback, everybody touched the ball. But it seemed like we're one-dimensional now. It seemed like, oh, Branch have a good game this game. Kobe Young have a good game this game. No. We did not put these guys together on the field together for one or two players, for one player to have a good game each game. And we did not get these guys out here for that. And Kirby Smart should be ashamed of himself. Him as well as Mike Bobo. Y'all should be a damn shame of y'allself. Y'all supposed to be some of the most talented coaches out there. Like, y'all been around, played college football, everything. Y'all should be a damn shame of y'allself with the amount of years that y'all have in y'all and playing the way y'all been playing these two weeks. You should be ashamed. I know we have some seasons where we're not playing at best, but what happened to where we won't be hunted? We will be the hunters. We will do the hunting. What happened to that? Where did that go? Where did that go? Because we seem like we just barely making it nowadays. Where did that go? Where did that go? Where did the standard go? We won't be hunted. We do the hunting. Where did it go? Because I don't see it no more. I don't see no real dogs out there. I see a bunch of sluggish players coming out sluggish, slow, offensive line fat and slow, defensive line, they all right. I don't know how well they're going to go translate to the SEC teams, but I see a slow, sluggish offense with a quarterback that can't throw the ball, hand the ball off 40, 50 times versus Austin Peay when you didn't have to. There's no excuse no more, man. I am tired of all of these excuses being made for this Georgia team. That's all that I'm saying. I love my dogs, but I am tired of these damn excuses. Week to week, I am tired of these excuses for this mediocre quarterback that hasn't been explosive at all. Even versus Marshall, I don't feel like he was explosive. Not at all. He ran for 2 little measly touchdowns. Okay, who couldn't do that against Marshall? This is what I'm saying about these coverage teams that's not speaking up and keeping it honest. We were supposed to do that versus Marshall. Come on, man. Anybody could have did that against Marshall. We got to be honest, man. We got to start being honest with ourselves, Georgia. I ain't lying, bro. That's why I'm stopping with the watching these channels, because I feel uncomfortable now. Because I see now, at one point in time, I thought, everybody was being real. Everybody was being honest. They was being good analysis. They were doing what they were supposed to be doing when it's time to cover the team. Now I see that it's a bunch of bull. It's a bunch of biasness. It's a bunch of excuses being made. I'm all out of excuses. When you watch my channel, you watch my live, I don't have no excuses. I don't. There is no excuse for the talent that we have and playing the way we played on Saturday. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Do we go up or do we go down? Where do we go from here? What did we see in these 2 games to say that we can go into week 3 and handle business? What do we see from week 1 to week 2? Now, I'm not saying that we don't have what it takes. I'm just asking y'all in the chat, what did we see from week 1 to week 2 to say that going into week 3 we have a chance with the Tennessee Vols? What did we see? Because me personally, I didn't see enough. I saw a team that's just going to try to, get away with wins all season. Here and there. I see close games all season. Now, Gunner could turn around and turn this thing around, whole 360. Like I said, he's completing passes 70%. But this is, I keep going back to Austin Peay. He completes 70% of his passes. 227 yards, no touchdowns. But we have to play the SEC. We have to play our conference. We have to win out our conference. Kirby is awarding seniority, really. That's it. We know it's tradition at Georgia. It's tradition. They run a game, will have to carry us Saturday. That's all they've been doing. That's all. I feel like that's all we are prepared for is to run. We have not thrown the ball enough, and he hasn't shown us that he can throw the ball and connect well enough for us to think that the running game won't carry us. I said that early on too. I also said that. I said the running game is going to – matter of fact, I said that a couple of videos ago that the running game is going to have to help him out. They are going to have to help him out. And I think that Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo knows that. That's why they running the ball 40 and 50 times a game. They know that his ability is not as strong with the pass game. So we need to establish the run. You know what I mean? Most of the time when we speak of establishing a run, just think about it. Most of the time when we talk about establishing a run, when I say we, I mean Kirby Smart in the press conference. Most of the time when he speak very highly on establishing a run game, most of the time is because the quarterback need help. Now, every team need to establish a run game, but at the same time, we're headstrong on it because we know that the quarterback is not as great of a thrower as he should by now. He's been with the program about 4 years now. I don't know what the hell he's been doing in those 4 years. I'm so glad that everybody is on board now because last season people wasn't. Last season everybody was thinking he was going to be the guy. But I'm so glad everybody's on board now because we can help push this narrative to get this guy out of there, put him on a bench, and start Ryan Puglisi. Let's keep the narrative going. Sorry, I just got off. Now you good, Shabazz. We play so tight, we have to loosen up. It's Bobo playing. It's Bobo. Hey, this man go with this Bobo stuff. Man, ain't no Bobo. Anyway, we got to continue to push this narrative. Get that boy off the field. Keep him off the field. Get him out of here, man. He is not the standard for Georgia. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. I think a lot of people, put their foot in their mouth about Carson Beck right now. I bet a lot of people is missing Carson Beck right now. I know I do. I know he would have helped bail us out of yesterday, as far as bail us out of looking crappy, because we definitely look crappy. Come on now. Why do we keep starting these non-NFL type of players? This man, Gunner Stockton ain't. Gunner Stockton going to be just like Jake Fromm, them selling insurance. Puglisi would be QB1 by Bama week, bro. Book it. Hey, I'm holding you to that one, Mondo Black TV. I ain't even going to lie. I'm ready for that. I hope that it happens, and I hope it happens sooner than Bama, but if it's going to be Bama, let it be Bama, because I'm ready to see something different, y'all. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Come on, man. It's time for a difference, man. It's just time, bro. It's time. I'm tired of hearing about Jared Curtis too. He ain't. Come on. He a 5-star, but goddamn it, we talking about now, right now, what we got going on right now. I don't want to hear nothing about no Jared Curtis. I want to hear about right now and what we need to do to win this game, next week. You know, shout out to Jared Curtis, but, you know, stars don't mean nothing to me. Stars don't mean nothing to me. That don't mean nothing. Does it resonate in college football? That's what it means to me. That's what it means to me. That's what I worry about. Are you going to take the talent that you have, and does it resonate against SEC opponents? If we're not going to use these wideouts we got out of the portal, then why waste the money? It seems we got wideouts to block rather than catch the ball. That's all they've been doing is blocking. That's all they've been doing is blocking. Kobe Young, you know, he did a little something, you know. He looked at decent. I mean, he looked at all right. I believe the only way they play Puglisi, the only way that Puglisi becomes QB1 is if Stockton gets injured based on Kirby's coaching history. Yeah, I believe so too. Like I told y'all in the live yesterday, we're gonna have to lose multiple games. He's gonna have to be out there throwing pick sixes in order for Kirby to make that decision. I don't know though, because they had them there together at one point. You know, Puglisi had his helmet on. He never put it on until 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. But I'm saying it's a possibility, right? It's a possibility. We can't start this train of losing, though. You know, regardless of how we feel about seniority, and you know, I don't want to give up on this guy, bro. It's about money, bro. College football is all about money. It ain't about no giving up on no guy. No. This is a business. We have to run a business. At the end of the day, hey, man, look, I know love lost to you. I understand you're a young man. I understand that. But, bro, we got to keep the ball moving. You know, at the end of the day, this is about money. Everything is about money. When they decided to make it about money, when they decided to make everything about money in college football, now that's all I care about. I don't care about the players as much as I once did, as far as, hey, man, give them another shot, man. Let's work with them. No. We got to do what's best for the business. If you bench Gunner, bench Nate also. Go look at Nate's stats versus everybody else, Shabazz. Kirby is going to bench him soon, bro. If he does not produce against the Vols, I hope so. What make you think so, Armando? Like, what make you think that? Because when people give their opinion, I like to know exactly why they feel that way. Because somebody had a great point up here. Who was it? Bulldog JC. He had a great point. He said, I believe the only way Puglisi becomes QB1 is if Stockton gets injured based on Kirby's coaching history. So, you know, that's why I asked the question, Mondo, because based on Kirby history, yeah, once you're the starter, you're the starter. That's it. The only person that they pulled out quick as hell was DeJuan Mathis. He's the only one that I saw get pulled out in the Kirby Smart era as fast as he did. And that was DeJuan Mathis. Funny thing is, Gunner has been better than Lagway? Really? Wow. That's unbelievable right there. That's unbelievable. I mean, I understand that they did do terrible against South Florida? Florida. Let me look this up. See what he did. Damn, ESPN sometimes be taking a long time. Yeah, it was South Florida. They got beat. Okay, we knew that. But let's see what Lagway did. I mean, he went 23 for 33. He scored 1 touchdown, had 222 yards, 1 interception. I don't think Gunner did better. Those stats to me doesn't say that Gunner did better. They lost that game, and I still feel Lagway did better. At least he threw for a touchdown. To me, that's what matters the most. When a quarterback can get over 200 and something yards, and have, a good completion rate as well as a touchdown, or 2, or 3, or 4, which we probably won't be seeing that at Georgia no more. That rhyme, a 2, a 3, a 4. We probably won't be seeing that at Georgia no more. If you're rapping on them, you know what I'm saying? Spitting, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Kirby stick with his seniority players. Yeah, Puglisi is getting a lot of reps with the ones in practice. Oh, okay. I'm saying so far this season. Okay, yeah, I feel you. Yeah, because we thought Lagway was going to do way better. I ain't going to lie. Boy, he had me sweating last season. God damn, Lagway. I said, oh, boy, if Lagway wouldn't have got hurt. I mean, Kirby stuck with Fromm and kept Fields on the bench. Fields transferred the next year to OSU, Ohio State, and looked really good there. Yeah, because I don't know. I think that Kirby Smart, I don't want to say this, but I think that he's a defensive mind, man. I'll just say that. He's a defensive mind. That's why our defense has been as good as they been, because of, Kirby Smart, as well as the rest of the, when we had Dan Lanning and now Glenn Schumann, you know what I mean? So I got to give everybody else credit. I'm not going to sit here and blame everything on one coach, and I'm not going to give credit to everything we've done positive to one coach. But at the same time, Mondo Black TV saying Sports TV, I'm sorry, but I got to shorten that up. But Puglisi is getting a lot of reps with the ones in practice, as well as he should. He should be. At the end of the day, it's going to take us to, like I said, to lose multiple games in order to bench this guy. I think he should be benched at this point. But I think that because his stats is not very bad. Look, I think that because I heard something from one of those channels, right? I think that my honest opinion to that with benching Gunner, I don't believe it's happening because he's not getting sacked multiple times. He's not making bonehead plays. He's not throwing into tight coverage a lot, but he did against Austin Peay. He doesn't have didn't cause a lot of turnovers. So I believe that that's what a lot of people is hanging on when it comes to making these excuses for Gunner Stockton. I think they're hanging on to that, to the fact that he's not turning over the ball. Like I said, he manages the game well. He manages it well. I just think that he's just not a good, starter. I'm just saying Fields was way better than Fromm. Yeah, we all know that. We all know. Everybody wanted Fields to play. The dude was a 5-star quarterback, and he just sat there. So, yeah, we all knew that. They didn't get – and then when you see how the way Fields played when he but when he got in for Georgia versus Ohio State, right? So we have two totally different offenses. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell they were doing with Justin Fields. I smell something burning. I think it might be cooking something. It smells like popcorn. Anyway, I'm just saying Fields was way better than Fromm. Facts. Kirby was never going to bench Fromm after going to the Natty as a true freshman. Yeah, definitely. So Fromm wasn't Gunner Stockton now. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Fromm was 10 times, in my opinion, 10 times better than Gunner Stockton at this point. Fromm's first 2 games is light years better than Stockton's first 2 games. So, I didn't feel like they needed to bench him right off. I feel like he did what he needed to do for Georgia. He did what he was able to do for Georgia, and it was time to move on at some point. But it's hard to move on when you ain't getting your ass kicked a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to move on when you're not turning the ball over a whole lot. And I think that's what's happening with Georgia and Gunner Stockton right now. He's not turning the ball over a lot. He hasn't turned the ball over. You know what I mean? He's able to avoid getting sacked, and I think that's what they're hyped about. They're so hyped about the fact that he's able to avoid getting sacked. Like, that's nothing, man. That's nothing. Carson Beck wasn't out there taking a million sacks. I heard somebody say that too. Carson Beck was getting sacked a lot of times. Carson Beck was not, for one, the O-line was better. Carson Beck's O-line was better. So he wasn't out there taking a million sacks. Did he get sacked? Yeah. But that wasn't the reason why Georgia wasn't at their best, because Gunnar Stockton couldn't use his legs. Carson Beck couldn't use his legs. That wasn't the case. The case was the drops last season. But I still feel to this day every quarterback that we've had is better than Gunnar Stockton right now. And Gunnar Stockton, he's just a bench warmer right now. Fromm had a decent deep ball. Yeah, Fromm had a decent deep ball. Did he have a strong arm? To a certain extent, he did. But he was way more accurate than this guy here. He brought more spunk, in my opinion. We felt like this guy belonged when he started for Georgia. We felt that Jake Fromm belonged. The way he commanded this team, I don't see that in Gunnar Stockton. I don't see how people see that in Gunnar Stockton. To be honest, I don't see. But hopefully I'm proven wrong next week. Who would you rather have, Gunnar or Vandagriff? I honestly would rather have Vandagriff. I would rather have Vandagriff. And that's because I feel like Vandagriff, to me, he showed more confidence. I think he should have never left Georgia. That was his downfall when he left Georgia. I know why he left Georgia, but he shouldn't have left Georgia. That was definitely his downfall. And now he's out there selling car insurance. So if you need some car insurance, let me stop. A job is a job. We all work a job out here. So no, disrespect. But yeah, like a lot of guys is out here, selling car insurance and selling home insurance and life insurance now. Most of our, quarterbacks, that's what they're doing right now. Developing a quarterback at Georgia is not one of our strong points. Developing a quarterback for Georgia at Georgia is not a strong point. I've had enough years in the Kirby Smart era to understand that. And I'm not, trying to downplay Kirby. I'm just saying, like, we had multiple quarterbacks, and these guys ended up having to get jobs, man. They ended up having to get jobs, like, real talk. The starters, they ended up having to get actual jobs out here. And there's nothing wrong with a real job, but these boys been playing football their whole lives. They never thought for a million years that they would have to end up selling insurance, man. And that's what Jake Fromm is doing right now, by the way. I don't remember what type of insurance, but that's what he's doing right now. And this ain't no flack to him. This ain't no disrespect to him. It's just like, bruh, Vandagriff would have did a lot better at Georgia than he did at Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky to me is trash. Kentucky has always been trash under that coach they got. I don't even know his name. But yeah, they are undisciplined like crazy, and they've been undisciplined. That's one thing I've noticed from Kentucky in the last couple of years. This guy been coaching Kentucky. They are very undisciplined, and that's what causes them a lot of the games. Every season we play them, that's what causes them the game. Mark Stoops, yeah. Mark Stoops. That's what causes them the game majority of the time, those mistakes that they making, shooting themselves in the foot over and over. They did it this past weekend. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they would have pulled the game off and won it, but they did the same thing. It's over and over. They're undisciplined. They're an undisciplined team. I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. Shout out to Bama. Bama look better. They came out with fire. They came out, ready to go. I'm glad for them. You feel what I'm saying? I'm glad for them. Because I didn't know where they was going to end up. If only we didn't miss out on Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, right? Right. We tend to miss out on great quarterbacks for whatever reason. We tend to, I mean, we've done great on the defense side of the ball. We've done great as far as running backs. We even had a couple of good, wide receivers here and there. you know. But I think that it's time to develop better at quarterback. I think it's time to change up. If we have to fire Mike Bobo, I'm all for it, even though I don't always think that he's the reason why we, look bad. But I'm all for if we have to let Mike Bobo go and choose somebody else that's better for the Dogs, I'm all for it. You know? Yeah, Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith. Yup, Jeremiah Smith was supposed to come when what's his name, man? What's the guy name that went over there to what did he go to Wisconsin or whatever? Nebraska, dude that went to Nebraska. What was his name, y'all? That did all of that work to act like he was going, you know what I'm saying, come to Georgia and all of that. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy how we lost out on so many damn players. We lost out on a lot of, Dylan Raiola. This guy had to move to Georgia, started going to school at Georgia, and turned around, and which a lot of us did know that he was going to eventually, we thought that he was going to, play for Nebraska. I think they said his dad had different relationships with people over there. So we kind of figured it. But dude had done came over and started going to school, got closer to Georgia, and was trying to help recruit Jeremiah Smith. I remember I did a video on that. He was actually out there trying to help recruit Jeremiah Smith, and neither one of them boys came to Georgia. Buster Faulkner would have been a much better OC. I believe so also. I believe so too. I'm just curious if Bobo is let go, who you think Georgia would get as OC? Hey, we might go with Buster Faulkner. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Raiola was more hype. Yeah, Raiola, Raiola really does think he's, he think he's more than what he is. I think, I think that all of the hype that he had around his name, it got to his head a little bit. Because I don't see him being. I mean, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, he's a good quarterback. Matter of fact, what did he do? What he's done? Let me see. What was the last? Okay, let's see. They just played Akron. Damn. Shit, Raiola doing damn good. A.K.A. Patrick Mahomes. He doing that 364 yards. 24 for 31, 4 touchdowns. Shit. I mean, he ain't played nobody, but still, 68 to zip. Shit. Dylan Raiola had a good damn game. But when he played Cincinnati, the score is a lot closer, 20 to 17. Yeah, so once he Damn, that was his debut. That was he didn't start the game versus Cincinnati. 225 girl, what's up? She said Dylan Raiola, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes Jr. Yeah, that dude think he Patrick Mahomes. We had a shot at John Metter. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right. We were close to getting Arch too, but he was. I didn't. You know what, man? I didn't care much about Arch. I didn't care, even though I feel like he a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton. I didn't really care about Arch, because I kind of figured that he wasn't coming to Georgia. From the jump, I figured that he was going to Texas. Texas got the money. Texas threw him the bag. Georgia wasn't trying to give up the bag to really nobody at the time. I don't know who Georgia is going to get. First of all, we got to cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. We got to cross that bridge when we get there. We for right now, we know who we got for right now. Arch is overrated and expensive. Yeah. I don't want to speak too much on Arch right now. I don't know, because in my opinion, he looks better than our quarterback. A lot of these quarterbacks look better than Gunnar right now. So name a quarterback right now that really doesn't look better than Gunnar right now as far as the SEC goes. Because, as far as what I've seen, everybody that I've seen look better, to be real. Everybody that I've seen look better. Uh, yeah, everybody that I've seen look better. You know, Joey Aguilar definitely looked better. Ty Simpson. Uh, who else out there? Lagway. You know, he's right there with him. You know, Arch Manning, obviously, like I said, he looks better. Uh, who else? Who else? Simmons over there at Ole Miss, he looks better. I mean, I just think that everybody looks better right now. When I tell you Bobo Talk had some other Georgia podcasters agitated, yeah, hey, I had watched Dog Nation, and I was watching the little interviews on Dog Nation, like, you know, how they have the people come up and ask questions, and then they have the people, you know, on the phone, FaceTime. And I'm sitting there like, somebody please tell the truth. Somebody go up there and not sugarcoat it and be honest and ask the right question. There was one guy that did speak about Bobo. It was one guy. He was like, I might not, I really don't want to ask this question. You know what I mean? But do we have a problem at Georgia? Do we have an OC problem at Georgia with Mike Bobo? And I was glad that he did ask that question, even though they kind of brushed it off. That's what they supposed to do. They're going to kind of brush it off and, you know, come up with a bunch of other excuses on why. But like I say, you know, me personally, I don't believe that everything is Mike Bobo's issue. You know, somebody said in the comment during the live yesterday that he's getting everything that he's getting from the fan base from the Mark Richt era, in which I do believe that. I believe that that's where it's coming from. But I've also did a video showing, you know, his history at Georgia. And it really wasn't good. It really wasn't good. Not after the first year he became the OC. It really wasn't good at all. But I still felt like it was due to the talent, you know, that we have. You know, so a lot of it does have a percentage to do with the talent. Like, I don't think that everything comes from Bobo. Brooks, a.k.a. FGN, had to tell off someone of the Georgia fans that consistently complain about Bobo. He basically said that he was blocking anyone who comes at him with the nonsense. Coach Donnan was kind of annoyed. Yeah, like, I think everybody is tired of that. We have to come with a different excuse at this point. Everybody that actually, like, really watch football and not just watching highlights, I think, you know, and I'm not saying none of y'all are doing that. I'm just saying it's a lot of fan bases out there, whether y'all know it or not. There's a lot of fan bases that just watch highlights and, you know, maybe a few games, and then they're like, oh, yeah, we got a problem because of Mike Bobo. No, that people are getting tired of hearing that. Like, you know, we see a lot from our players, and the main player that we're not seeing perform to his highest ability, he may be performing to his highest ability. We don't know. I'm gonna continue to blame it on Gunnar Stockton. I'm gonna continue to believe that Gunnar Stockton is not the guy for the job until Mike Bobo put another quarterback in, and, you know, we still are terrible. You know, then I'll say, well, yeah, we may have a problem with this OC. But until then, I'm gonna believe that it's Gunnar Stockton rather than Mike Bobo. You know, I'm not gonna believe nothing else, because to me, Mike Bobo is not on the field. You know, the play calling to me is not that bad. The screen passes, bubble screens and stuff, that comes from the fact that you're not confident in your quarterback's pass game downfield. You know, that's where that comes from, in my opinion. I don't think what else could it come from? You know, if I'm not confident in my quarterback, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw these screens. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to dink and dunk down the field if I'm not as confident. What do they do when they see that their quarterback is not accurate with his throws? They start dinking and dunking, taking what the defense give you, which you should do that, but at the same time, you know you're not going to turn them loose, because if you turn them loose, then that's where tragedy will start happening. And then we'll be really upset once we start turning the ball over. So, you know, Gunner, for whatever reason, isn't feeling confident in himself like he is, like he's scared to make mistakes or something. Trust your instincts and your wideouts. I think he's not. I don't know if Gunner is not trusting himself, or is Mike Bobo telling him, "Hey, nah, don't get to going out there slinging that ball around." That's what I believe is happening. That's honestly, that's what I believe is happening. He telling him, "Don't go out there slinging that ball around and cause no turnovers." And that's what I wanted to see from Gunner Stockton before the season started, because I didn't know how well he was able to play. So all I wanted him to do is what he's doing right now. But that don't make me sold on him. That doesn't say that I'm a Gunner Stockton fan just because he's doing what I wanted to see. And I said that before the season started. If you was watching some of the videos, all I want him to see is, take what the defense give you. You know what I mean? Hold on to the ball. Keep, you know what I mean? Don't make bonehead plays. That's, make great decisions. That's all I wanted to see from Gunner Stockton. I knew that his ability to throw wasn't as good as a Carson Beck or as a Stetson Bennett. I already knew that his arm wasn't as strong as those guys. So with him being a first-time starter, all I wanted him to do is make good decisions, which that's what he's doing now. But at this point, we need to see more from this guy. At this point, you've played a scrub game, 2 scrub games. We have to see more from you. Explosiveness, That's it. That's all we need to see at this point. Yeah, I spoke about all of what I wanted to see, but now that I'm able to see that you can do that you can handle the task of not turning the ball over, that you can handle the task of commanding the offense, or trying to command, I see that now, that you're a game manager. I see that you can manage the game, but we need you to be a quarterback. If we don't have no other choice in quarterback to choose from, we need you to be a quarterback. We don't need you to be a running back. We already got 3-4 running backs. Why would we need you to use your legs at this point when we already see that we can establish or have established the run game? We already see that our running backs are getting at least 5 to 10 yards a carry and even more. We've already established that, at least with the scrub games. So if that's the case, then the only thing is missing is the deep ball. You got to at least go further than 5 or 10 yards down the damn field, man. You got to establish a threat at some point. Somebody got to be a threat, man, because if I'm Tennessee and I'm looking at these last 2 games, I'm loading the box. I'm making you go out there. I'm testing you. I'm trying to see what you're going to do. Beck through a lot last season with Bobo. That's what I'm trying to say is Bobo puts plays in according to the players we have. That's exactly what it is, Bulldog JC. I said that during the live. It depends on the player that you have on what Bobo is going to do, what plays he's going to call. It depends on the quarterback that you have, yo. I don't think people look that deep into it because they don't have no other reasons on why they complain about Bobo. They just say, oh, man, it's the vanilla play calling. That's shit that they done heard from other people. Oh, it's the bad play calling. No, sir. No, sir. A lot of these play calls, we had some of the same play calls when we had Todd Monken. Some of the same ones. But it depends on your quarterback, how well your quarterback plays. That's what determines what plays Mike Bobo is going to call. And that's for every OC. It depends on what type of quarterback you have. Because Carson Beck was slinging the ball around more than running. We didn't have a run game like we do now, but Carson was slinging that ball around. You know why? Because our run game wasn't at its best. We had a lot of hurt or injured players. Yeah, we had ETN, but that was only one person. Nate Frazier had to come in and start doing his thing. So, yeah, that's what it's really about. It's not about Mike Bobo play calling. It's more so, you need to start realizing what type of quarterback you got. And I think Mike Bobo realized that. He don't have a quarterback that can go out there and sling it around. He got a quarterback that may be a little inconsistent in his throws. So I need you to dink and dunk your way to a win. I need you to only throw, short 3-4 yard touchdowns. I don't need you throwing the ball downfield because you're going to risk throwing it in double coverage. Every team can damn near blitz every play. Not like Gunner will look down the field. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like Gunner too short to even look down the field. I feel like, the man is only 6'1". Was it just me, or did Gunner look really nervous after standing in the pocket for a few seconds? Yeah, I think Gunner is just not a great starter. He's just not, to me, in my opinion, a great starter. At least he hasn't shown anything to say that he's a great starter. That's just my opinion, though. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. We just got to see what we're going to do week 3 versus Tennessee. You know what I mean? We just got to see what we're going to do, man. Well, all in all, man, we had a great conversation, man. I've been going for over an hour. We had a great conversation. I appreciate everybody that jumped off in the comment section and chatted with me. You know what I'm saying? We always have some great talks over here. I don't know where else you can have this type of conversation, this type of unbiased and real conversation. I don't know where else you can get that from, but you definitely can get it over here. So, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, share the channel out. So that we can get more people into these conversations that we having, because we be having some good ass conversations. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, y'all stay tuned for more from the Doghouse. I'm finna get ready to get out of here, man. Y'all stay tuned for more of the Doghouse, man. We out.